Good morning, Chairman. Mr. Vipin Sodhi, you are able to hear us? We are able to see you.
Yes, young Raghu, very well. Good morning to you. Good morning to Renuka.
Morning.
Good morning, sir. Good
morning. Hey, Doc.
Morning, sir.
So, Renuka, you're going to, as usual, invite, etc. And how are you finishing off?
I'm inviting you to give the vote of thanks, and then after that, I'll just close it.
Okay.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah. We are driven by CII protocol.
I was asked to do that, so I'm also driven by that.
No, absolutely fine. All good. Young Raghu, you're in Hyderabad?
Yes, I'm based on. I'm at Hyderabad today, sir. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Will log in. Shall I sit? The video is not on.
Ashish, are we on time?
Yes. CB? You able to hear the CB? Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Everything fine.
Morning to young CB.
Yeah. Very good morning to younger Vipin.
Oh, yeah. Good to see you. Good to see you.
See you too. Yeah.
Good morning to all colleagues from the Confederation of Indian Industry and to Dr. Vincent from the WIPO. I'm Neeraj Sinha from the NITI Aayog, and my colleagues are here, Dr. Ashok Sonkusre and Mr. Siddesh Shinde, Mr. Naman Agarwal and Ms. Naba Sugu. And very shortly, Dr. Suman Bery will join us, the Vice Chairman NITI Aayog, and of course, Mr. Parameswaran Iyer is also on his way. He's in a meeting in the Cabinet Secretariat, but he's going to come here shortly. So we are waiting for both of them to join us, the Vice Chairman and the CEO both.
Thank you very much.
Nice to connect with all of you. And good morning again on behalf of the NITI Aayog. Thank you.
Thank you very much for to all our friends in NITI Aayog. We're indeed grateful, and it's a very good day, very joyous day. And I think we have we are really moving up the index.
Yes.
CB, Mr. Soumitra Datta has also joined us.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Soumitra. Hi.
Hello, CB.
Mr. Datta, good morning. Neeraj Sinha from the NITI Aayog with all my colleagues here.
Good morning to you all. Good morning.
Soumitra Vipin Sodhi must be
I know
for you.
Of course, I remember. How are you, Vipin?
Very well. Oh yeah.
Early in the morning, Soumitra?
Early morning.
Hello. Well, I'm actually in Europe now, so then my time zone difference is not as bad as in the US.
Right, indeed. Yeah.
But thank you, CB, and thank you everyone else for the support of the GII. Much appreciated.
No, we love the way it is going, and we want to keep going this way. And it's a very important exercise for our country and for ourselves.
No, but CII was there right from the very beginning, you remember?
Yeah. It's always good to partner with you. And I'm so glad, so encouraging that the government and NITI is so closely involved with us, in seeing to it how we can do the follow-up. So from this year to the next year, we show substantial progress.
Shasha said that he had to drop his child to the school, so he'll be here, but he'll be here in time, but he may not be here exactly at 8:30.
Okay.
Doc Alok doesn't seem to have joined us yet.
Yes, sir. We are following up with his office. We are parallel following up.
I think Mr. Alok Nanda has just joined us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Alok.
Hey,
Hello, Mr. Nanda. Morning.
good afternoon.
So we just checked with NITI Aayog, VC sir, and CEO is joining in 5 minutes. So we can then start perhaps.
Good morning, Delhi. Hello, Ashish.
Good morning from Delhi. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Banerjee. It's great to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
It's a good day, huh?
It's a great day. Great day.
Yeah, I was about to go to sleep early yesterday night, and the Indian mission here called me, forwarding me the tweet of the Indian Prime Minister. So
Yes.
that made my day.
Yeah.
I'm working on President Erdogan now for his
Oh,
tweet.
okay.
Yeah, some peer pressure.
So a quick information from NITI Aayog. Chairperson is joining in next 2 minutes.
Good afternoon again. I'm Neeraj Sinha from the NITI Aayog. Unfortunately, the Vice Chairman NITI Aayog is stuck with an unscheduled meeting which he is not able to come out of. So he'll try to join us definitely before 12:30. In the meantime, I will request all colleagues from the CII and also Dr. Soumitra Datta and Dr. Vincent from the WIPO to please continue with the program. And we are all here in the NITI Aayog, and the VC will join us the moment he's free, but definitely before 12:30.
Thank you. Renuka, can you start, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to each one of you, to all the distinguished dignitaries present here today at the India launch of Global Innovation Index 2022 and the CII Innovation Conclave, organized by the NITI Aayog, WIPO, and the Confederation of Indian Industry. To begin with the session, I'd like to invite Mr. Vipin Sondhi, Chairman, CII National Mission on Technology, Innovation and Research, to give his welcome remarks.
Thank you, Renuka. And I'm honored to extend a warm welcome to all the esteemed dignitaries at the India launch of the Global Innovation Index 2022. Shri Suman Bery, VC NITI Aayog, Shri Parameswaran Iyer, CEO NITI Aayog, scheduled to join a little later. Mr. Daren Tang, Director General WIPO, Professor Soumitra Datta, author, Global Innovation Index and Dean University of Oxford, Dr. Sasha Wunsch-Wasson, co-editor, Global Innovation Index and Head, Economics and Statistics Division, WIPO, CB, Director General, Confederation of Indian Industry, and Alok Nanda, co-chairman, CII National Mission on Technology, Innovation and Research, and the CEO, G India Technology Center. Ladies and gentlemen, namaskar and greetings to everyone. Today is indeed a moment of pride for all of us as we witness yet another year of a significant change and upward trajectory on innovation. The launch of the annual Global Innovation Index report and the rankings of the innovation performances is awaited by over 130 participating nations with tremendous interest. GI rankings go a long way in helping countries to establish their innovation strategies premised on the unique strengths of each market with its demographics, regulatory environment, and the inclination of society in general. Governance and business systems are subsequently designed appropriately. India has embarked on a journey where innovative thinking walks hand in hand with the socio-economic evolution of our nation. From a rank of 81 in 2015 to 46 in 2021, and now 40 in 2022, a jump of 41 places in just 7 years. This consistent upward trend clearly reflects that the importance of innovation is taking center stage. And with the Honorable Prime Minister's articulation through the slogan Jai Anusandhan, India as a global innovation hub will receive even more prominence. CII is delighted to contribute to this important journey and has launched a national mission on technology, innovation, and research to add impetus to India becoming a technology leader driven by innovation and research. The mission has 5 key goals. 1, enhance national investment in R&D from 0.7% of GDP to 4% by 2047 with an interim milestone of 2.5% by 2030. 2, increase Indian industry's contribution in R&D from a 37% to a minimum of 60% by 2030. Nurture innovation competitiveness of industry by identifying top 20 frontier technologies of national priority and develop proficiency by 2030 is the 3rd. Fourth, fostering collaboration amongst industry, academia, research, lab, and startups, which we call as the National Research Quad, with government as a critical enabler. And fifth, enhance gender equality in STEM workforce to a minimum of 50% by 2047, with an interim milestone of 35% by 2030. The theme of this year's Global Innovation Index, productivity, stagnation, or revival, is particularly relevant for India as we are experiencing significant transformation in many sectors, from space and smart cities to healthcare, education, mobility, and telecommunications, all of which are driven by innovative tech solutions. And today, while we can be proud of what we've achieved, there's no stopping here. We need to progress further with a sense of urgency and target the top 25 over the next few years. With these words, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all our esteemed guests and dignitaries, all of whom are very important for this launch. Thank you very much, and back to you, Renuka.
Thank you, Mr. Sondi. I would now request Mr. Alok Nanda, Co-Chair, CI National Mission on Technology, Innovation and Research, to give his address, please.
Thank you, Renuka, and thank you, Vipin, for those inspiring words. Indeed, we are making tremendous progress as a nation, and I have no doubt that our goal to get into top 25 and then maybe top 10 and top 5 in next few years, we will realize if we can keep activating the quad as we are doing, especially through our innovation mission at CII. As an engineer and as a leader, innovation has been really the mantra for me throughout my career. And what has guided me through these years is this equation that innovation is equal to invention multiplied by value creation. And you know, many times we confuse innovation to creating something new, but we forget that that matters only if it creates some value, and value need not be in terms of money or dollars or pounds or rupees. Value is the value for the society. What is it that we are changing for the society? What is it? How are we taking the society better, making it easier, making the quality of life better? So innovation is really critical for growth of any country, of any industry. And so I'm really glad that we've taken it upon ourselves and made it our mission to improve our innovation index, because as a leader, we also know that what we don't measure, we don't really improve. And if we don't know what to improve, then we don't know where to invest our efforts on. So really happy to be part of this this mission, really happy to see us grow, and really committed to making this squad of academia, national labs, industry, and startups work in tandem as we take innovation forward and keep growing our country by getting better and better at it. So with that, thank you so much, and over back to you, Renuka.
Thank you, Mr. Nanda. May I now request Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, Director General, Confederation of Indian Industry, to address us, please.
Sorry. Thank you, Renuka, and thanks also to Vipin and Alok for giving CII the leadership in this very, very important area of innovation. And we heard from both of them about the mission that CII we have launched, and both of them have been giving us leadership into seeing how we can really, the industry can play a very constructive role. And I would really look forward to listening to our old friend Professor Soumitra Datta and Dr. Sacha as to how we could really climb up, some of the numbers which Alok mentioned, moving into the first 10, first 5 over a period of time. And this partnership has been of phenomenal value to CII and the Indian industry with you. I must mention WIPO's collaboration with us has been of great value. And we would be delighted and honored to have the participation of both the Vice Chairperson of the NITI Aayog and the CEO of NITI Aayog, because this collaboration that we are having again between the NITI and the Indian industry is also of very, very significant importance. To begin, I must say this is a day for celebration. And let's congratulate everyone present here on yet another progressive year for India on the Global Innovation Index. Great to have friends from the NITI really working so closely with the Indian industry to understand as to how we can take this forward. And with this particular conference is of great importance to us. I know as the founding knowledge partner, if I can say, of the GII, ourselves from the CII, we are indeed very, very proud to be an integral part of India's journey towards the innovation-driven economy. And we have seen a phenomenal change that has happened, as was mentioned. And great honor for us once again to have this India launch of the Global Innovation Index 2022, which comes immediately after the great news that we had from Geneva yesterday. And you know, in 2019, if we were privileged to host the first ever historic launch of the GII from India. And I'm sure as the rank improves and goes even higher, we will once again have that opportunity to host the global launch in India. The last few years, especially the GII, I must say that we have experienced that the GII having evolved into a very valuable benchmarking tool that can facilitate the public-private dialogues, helping our policymakers and business leaders assess and evaluate our progress as a nation into innovation metrics on a year-to-year basis. And therefore, the participation of NITI over here is such of great importance to all of us. Also, if you see in a globalizing economy, and when India is embarking upon so strongly on becoming a manufacturing hub, the entire call of making in India, innovation will, of course, play an increasingly, it will be perceived as a new engine of economic growth and industrial growth. And as far as our rank is concerned, this has been a great moment because, as we all know, today India is celebrating its 75th year of independence, and our Honorable Prime Minister has laid a strong and a clear push for innovation, as Vipin mentioned, through the Jaya Anusandhan. And this really draws out the spirit of innovation amongst all our Indians as we march towards the India at 100, which will be India at 2047. So today, India is indeed bestowed with all the right ingredients, if you say, in the form of an excellent policy, excellent policy drivers, growth aspirant industry, and a very, very skilled manpower. All of this has been work which has been done over the last few years. And these, coupled with an in-depth focus on innovation, we are certain that will lead to a boosting the existing sectors as well as the sunrise sectors that will drive the next economic growth. So GII really helps provide a very, very important insight to the ecosystem players, on innovation landscape of the entire nation. And at CII, we are designing specific programs to drive innovation. And I thought I must mention that as a movement from across industry by creating an enabling environment to breed innovation across industries. And I would really invite people like Shomithro to be our great knowledge partners in this endeavor. I just wanted to make 3 quick submissions before I conclude. First, CII would like to work very closely with our policymakers. NITI is present here today so strongly to set up a national level think tank on Anusandhan and innovation. And I think this could be constituted as an innovation council or an innovation society of India. And the group can comprise, of course, of industry leaders. Vipin mentioned about the quad. So industry leaders, academia, researchers, and innovation experts who shall work together on shaping innovation policies for India. Second, we also propose to establish a national task force to map the indicators of the Global Innovation Index, especially the ones pertaining to industry. The task force will identify the areas of strength and the areas with gaps and accordingly propose suitable interventions. And we are fairly confident that if this exercise is going to help India catapult into a league of top innovative nations, which Alok mentioned about the numbers again. And lastly, there is a need for a joint investment by government and industry, particularly for high risk and high investment projects. And I would really urge that we work towards that. We would like to work in partnership again with the government and the stakeholders who are involved in financing innovations to formulate some mechanisms that will help de-risk innovations. And I strongly believe that that shall, excuse me. And I strongly believe that that really will go a long way to enhance India's overall R&D investments and output. Once again, congratulations to all our stakeholders for this year's launch of the GII, and thank all the esteemed dignitaries for gracing the launch ceremony. At CII, we will look forward to working together to take India to the next level of innovation leadership. So thank you once again. Thank you very much. Back to you, Renuka.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. May I now invite Professor Soumitra Datta, author, Global Innovation Index and Dean, University of Oxford, and Dr. Sacha Wunsch-Vincent, co-editor, Global Innovation Index and head Economics and Statistics Division, WIPO, to share a few analytical insights on India's performance at the GII 2022.
Thank you very much, Renuka, and honorable, guests, dignitaries, and friends. It's indeed an honor and pleasure for Shasha and myself to be included as part of this launch. I will say a few words about GII in general, about India's performance, and then my colleague Shasha will pick up and talk a little bit more about the global results and some of the global trends that we see in innovation. This is the 16th edition of the GII, and I must say that I'm very grateful to the participation and support of CII over the last more than a decade, because as Chandrajit said, CII has been there right from the start, and thanks to the support of CII and the partnership of many in the CII, including Chandrajit, I think the GII has gone from strength to strength. Every year, of course, we rank different countries. The ranking is only, I would argue, a small part of the entire exercise, even though it gets a lot of the attention, because fundamentally what the GII does is that it provides some valuable guidance to innovation policies in different nations. Recently, WIPO did a survey of its member countries, and more than 70 countries said that they were using the GII for using sort of the data from the GII and guidance from it for designing the innovation policies. India certainly is one of those countries. We know that, and very grateful for India's active use of the GII in this area. But this is being very useful for many nations to help plan the innovation policies. Every year, we also raise some important themes of interest to innovation professionals, to nations around the world. And this year, the theme that has been raised is a very important one, is around innovation, is around productivity improvements, and the fear of stagnation. And I think this is very important, especially for emerging nations like India, where the necessity to keep creating wealth, the necessity to grow, to be able to create the wealth to redistribute in society is very, very important. So I think GII is very important, and thank you for your support. Thank you for using the GII actively inside India's policies and policy-making sort of procedures. Now, as far as India's position is concerned, I have to say congratulations. Clearly, as outlined by many others in the panel earlier, India's directional progress has been very, very impressive. I think over 7 years, a rise of almost 46 positions is very, very impressive. And I always say that the direction often matters much more than the actual position. So the direction is clearly positive, and this is the result of a lot of effort from a lot of individuals, a lot of organizations, a lot of government bodies inside the country. And certainly I think the policies and the leadership of Prime Minister Modi has been very instrumental in helping make this happen. The direction, if it stays positive, should in fact lead to continued improvement. But I think what is important to understand is to identify and be happy about what we have achieved in India, and also think more critically about where we can improve. Clearly, India has done extremely well on the startup scenario. If you look at the startup scenario, people mentioned yesterday, I think, that India has more than 70,000 startups, has more than 100 unicorns. And I think India's success on startups is unmistakable, because even when I come to India and talk to young Indians, all young Indians now, and many of them, in fact, want to become entrepreneurs. So it's a cultural change that has happened in the country that's very important. India's success in creating a national digital infrastructure platform also is very, very impressive. The India stack, the whole stack of APIs and UPI and other kinds of Aadhaar platform-based infrastructure that is set up in India is very unique. Very few countries in the world have it. And I think, many countries looking at India as an inspiration for this, because in the world of digital infrastructures, the traditional models are the American and Chinese ones, and people feel there is no other third way. I think what India is showing is that there is a third way, and that third way is in fact much more democratic, much more bottom up, and allows for digital innovation in the economy in a very different way. And so I think that's a very important strength of the nation, and I think it'll lead to a lot of innovations in the country in the years ahead. Now, let me quickly highlight two areas of possible improvements. One is clearly in the R&D intensity of our entire nation. I think as a country, India invests far less than what is required for a nation of its aspirations to invest in R&D. And I think the R&D investments, of course, have to come both from the government and from the large corporations. And today what we see is that that's an area where India is lagging behind. And I think we should find ways to help the government and the the larger corporations, in fact, invest more in R&D. And the second area that I would say really is around the whole idea of creating clusters. I think we all understand that innovation happens in clusters. And these clusters and ecosystems are really a combination of multiple organizations, multiple stakeholders coming together, as we mentioned earlier, in the sense of a quad operating. I think we need to do better in creating more effective clusters of innovation in the country. So maybe with that, I'll pass on to my colleague and co-editor, Shasha, for his part of the comments. Shasha.
Yes, good morning
Dr. Sasha,
to NITI Aayog.
Dr. Sasha, before you begin, I'd like to just mention and welcome Shri Suman Bery, the Vice Chairman of NITI Aayog, whom we see on the screen. Thank you very much for being able to attend this meeting in spite of your back-to-back schedule, which we understand. So thank you very much and welcome to you.
Thank you, Javed.
Thank you, Dr. Sasha.
Param might be joining us too.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee, and I echo the welcome to Mr. Bery, whom we had the chance to meet at your launch of the Indian Innovation Index not too long ago. So the support at this level, I would say, is critical to achieve the type of success that India has achieved. I will just start with some congratulations. In fact, congratulations. Being at slot 40 with relative to the per capita GDP of India is a statistical impossibility if you look at our linear relationship of innovation and economic development. And nonetheless, India not only overperforms every year relative to its level of development, but this year, breaking into the top 40 is really, it's not even knocking at the door of the OECD economies. It's being really amongst them, right? So it's really a great sort of achievement. And after all these years of joint work with NITI Aayog, all these task forces, the collaboration on the India Innovation Index, but of course also the many joint activities with CII. I was similarly proud last night. At least when we found out the results, but also the reaction in India, including of Prime Minister Modi and the participation of the Minister Goyal. So that's a great achievement. Just, I think that Sumitra has laid out a few interesting points in terms of the strengths and the weaknesses. And, we don't have much time today to go into the details. I think we'll have meetings in person and also online to unpack the results in greater detail. But let me just mention 4 points which are forward-looking, 4 interrogations. And I really like the idea of Mr. Banerjee in terms of this creation of a think tank and also a task force that would look at corporate innovation in India. I think they would all sustain some of the ideas that I want to present to you now, or some interrogations, which are of a personal nature and not necessarily a WIPO point of view. So the first would be, most of the data, of course, included in the GII stops in December 2021. Some of the data is actually far more outdated. So in case of India, there's a few indicators there that are still pertain to 2018. In fact, some of the GERD, some of the business R&D indicators that India offers are, are older than 2021, obviously, and certainly 2022. So as you know, a lot of things happened in 2020, 2021, but also, of course, in 2022 with geopolitical tensions, everything that happened to global value chains and supply chains. So I would really like to ask the question, do we really know, do we have a good pulse of the Indian innovation investments and outcomes in reaction to what is happening right now? So it's really interesting to get some short-term data, some more cyclical short-term data on what is happening. And you probably have the pulse on this better than we do, but that is clearly a big interrogation. In particular, also, if you think about the fact that India is extremely strong in services exports. So Mr. Banerjee mentioned ICT services exports. And we are all aware of the fact that there's a lot of reshoring going on in manufacturing for sure, as global manufacturing value chains have essentially broken down in parts. But I also, of course, am aware of services reshoring too, right? So it'd be very interesting to get the pulse from you on more recent phenomena. The second point concerns the policy prerogative to foster corporate and business R&D innovation, echoing also Mr. Banerjee and my colleague Sumitra Dutta. So it is clear that the vast majority of R&D, as far as the statistics go, are in the ICT services sector, and also in some of the public research organizations of India. But that, if you look at other large manufacturing companies in India, that R&D intensity is probably too low. So it'd be very interesting to see what we can do about this. Point 3, entrepreneurship nation. I echo again what my colleague said. And it's quite interesting because after all these years of Prime Minister Modi's and the Indian government's focus on making India an innovation and, in fact, a startup hub, you could see that this is now clearly manifested in the GII results. We have new indicators that we use for entrepreneurship policies, but also financing entrepreneurship. And on this one, India ranks 12th in the world. So that's, quite something. And in terms of finance for startups, it's even 8th. So that's, I think, extremely impressive. Obviously, that is the input side. So I think we all have to get a sense of what is happening on the output side a little bit better. So of course, we say there's more than 100 unicorns, but this data sometimes is a little bit fragile. And the data we collect on startups or at least new business ventures, doesn't show the equivalent rise as the input side does. So we have to, I think, have a better statistical sense of interesting startups that are going on in India and better data. Finally, I note that India, in the top 100 science and technology cluster ranking that we also produce, India now has 4 clusters. So initially it sounds not like much, right? 4 out of 100, but it's 100 in the world, right? With US and China occupying already a lot of slots, right? So for me, this is really impressive. And it's actually at the level or even beyond certain high-income OECD type economies, just in terms of the number of clusters. But I was asked, by the Times of India last week, so why, what's really going on? In particular, the question was about Mumbai, right? Because everybody expected Bangalore and Delhi to be somewhere there. But Mumbai, for some journalists, was more perplexing. So I was then trying to find a little bit about the local innovation ecosystem. So what is really happening between the IIT in Mumbai? Who are the top performing institutions? What is going on between them? And what results are achieved based on this thriving, very domestic local innovation system? And again, at least internationally and to me available from abroad, I didn't see very detailed studies on the local clusters and also interrogations on how to convert what is extreme potential into actual innovation outputs on this front. So it'd be really interesting to work together to possibly improve this. Let me finish here with, again, congratulations. We just a few days ago, we weren't sure if we were going to get a contribution of the Indian government to the GII launch. But then a few hours before the launch, we received the greeting of Minister Goyal, and then last night a tweet of Prime Minister Modi. So that was certainly very fitting to this excellent result. Back to Delhi.
Thank you, Professor Datta and Dr. Vincent. We will now have the India launch of the Global Innovation Index 2022 virtually. May we have the video, please? And while we wait for Mr. Iyer, CEO NITI Aayog, to join us, we have a video message which we will play now from Mr. Daren Tang, Director General, World Intellectual Property Organization. Can we have the message, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the launch of the 2022 WIPO Global Innovation Index in India. I'd first like to thank the government of India, particularly the NITI Aayog, Vice Chairperson Mr Suman Bery, and the Confederation of Indian Industry for their strong commitment to advancing India's innovation ecosystem. Since its creation in 2007, the GII has established itself as a powerful tool for designing innovation policies and evaluating innovation performance. More than just a statistical exercise, the GII reflects WIPO's mission to strengthen innovation ecosystems around the world. This year's GII finds innovation at a crossroads as we emerge from the pandemic. While innovation investments surged in 2020 and 2021, the future outlook is clouded by global uncertainties and a continued lag in the performance of innovation-driven productivity. As such, while we welcome the continued commitment to investing in innovation, we also now need to pay closer attention to how it creates economic and social impact. This is a challenging task, but rest assured that WIPO will continue to support all of our member states to harness innovation as a powerful catalyst for jobs, investments, and growth. And today, we reaffirm our support for India, whose rise up the GII ranks in recent years has been spectacular. This year, India ranks 40th amongst the 132 economies featured in the GII, up from 81st place in 2015. You are now the top performing country in your income group and continue to be the most innovative economy in Central and Southern Asia. India leads the world in ICT services exports and holds top rankings in key indicators including finance for startups and scale-ups, labor productivity growth, number of science and engineering graduates, and domestic industry diversification. And in 2021, Indian companies received almost $40 billion in venture capital investment, a more than 200% increase over the prior year. This remarkable progress and set of metrics is a testament to the high priority India places on supporting innovation-driven growth across society as a whole. Indeed, India is amongst the few economies in the world that have created domestic innovation indices. The India Innovation Index, inspired by the GII, is now a benchmark to compare and contrast the performance of Indian states and union territories with other economies already learning from India's experience. Ladies and gentlemen, WIPO looks forward to our continued collaboration in the years ahead and in supporting India and its ambition to become a global innovation powerhouse. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tang. For some reason, Mr. Iyer is not able to join just now, and therefore we'll move on with the program. It is now my privilege and pleasure to invite Mr. Suman Bery, Vice Chairperson, NITI Aayog, to address us, please. Sir.
Well, let me thank the organizers, my good friend Chandrajit Banerjee for his words of welcome, but also I think, is Vipin Sondhi still here? Yes, Vipin. Vipin, I'm sorry I was not here for your remarks, but good to see you, if only virtually. We are unfortunately no longer neighbors. Are you in Delhi now?
Yeah, in the same place, Suman. Yeah, I believe we are no longer neighbors, but in the same place. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So thanks to CII, and also my first encounter with Professor Sumito Dotto. Nice to see you virtually as well, and to be reacquainted with Dr. Sasha Wunsch-Vincent, who we did meet at the launch of the India Innovation Index some months ago, as you rightly observed. Let me acknowledge we had a meeting of Prime Minister Modi's Council of Ministers a couple of months ago, and I can say there was a lot of enthusiasm and excitement. It was before the formal launch, but it was clear that Piyush Goyal was bursting to share the good news with his peers and with the senior bureaucrats. Just to mention this as a sign of both the seriousness with which the index is now seen in India, but also as an affirmation of all that you and Mr. Daren Tang have said about the nature of the commitment that Prime Minister Modi and his team have made to making India an innovation hub. It's not called for in the program, but we do have Neeraj Sinha, who's our senior advisor. So after I end my own remarks and thanks, I will ask him if he wishes to contribute to any of the questions that Dr. Sasha had about, what the situation is on the ground, and indeed, Chandrajit have his own views based on the experience of CII. So, I mean, I think, NITI Aayog is deeply involved in the issue of a culture of innovation by being entrusted with the Atal Innovation Mission and all of the activities associated with the innovation mission, including incubators, tinkering labs, etc. I think that an important indicator, two important indicators that Dr. Vincent mentioned were clusters, and also, the whole financing ecosystem around startups, captured to some extent by unicorns. I think that what is important and relevant is that these things don't happen accidentally. They do represent a policy commitment by, yes, the union government, but also by state governments. You had talked about inputs, but also outputs. I think what is really quite impressive, which may or may not be captured, I'm not close enough to the index, is how much of this innovation is now going to what I might call public purposes. When you look at the India stack and where that has led to in terms of financial inclusion, when you look at the use of technology, obviously in the Aadhaar system, which is a core of so much of service delivery. I did have the experience of living in Europe, in the Netherlands, which is itself a very innovative society, but there are aspects of, as it were, life in India now where technology is more commonplace than I think it is in certain European countries. And all of this has happened relatively quickly. It's happened, I would say, in the last decade. But for all that, to have the affirmation of a respected international body like WIPO, indicator-based, even if in some cases not the most recent indicators, to find that notwithstanding our low per capita income, that we, through effort, collective effort of government and the private sector, are able to rank as high as we are. This is all extremely motivational. So on behalf of NITI Aayog, let me acknowledge our partnership with WIPO, acknowledge, as it were, the importance, as I speak as a member of the government, that the Modi government attaches to this affirmation. And without further ado, with the permission of the hosts, ask whether there is time for either my colleagues or CII to respond to a couple of the questions that Dr. Vincent had posed to the group. May we go ahead?
Yes, Suman, it will be great. I'll be very happy for Dr. Sinha to give his comments.
Very nice.
So thank you so much, Mr. Vipin Sondi, and a big thank you to the Vice Chairman NITI Aayog for allowing this discussion to happen, which is outside the program, but very important. First of all, on the data not being up to date, as far as some indicators is concerned, we know that it has been quite an arduous journey for the NITI Aayog to actually cover the gap in most data points over the past couple of years that we have been entrusted with this job with. Just for the record, it was in December of 2019 that the government of India laid emphasis on India seriously marking its position and also seriously tracking its upward trend in 30 global indices. And 2 of those global indices were entrusted to the NITI Aayog. One of them is the Global Innovation Index. And in the NITI Aayog, under the stewardship of and the leadership of the Vice Chairman NITI Aayog, the CEO NITI Aayog, and of course, the member Science and Technology NITI Aayog, we have been able to, and let me tell you that there are about 29 odd stakeholder ministries and departments in the government of India, which are responsible for responding to the 80 indicators in the Global Innovation Index. And while we know that data points are picked up by the World Intellectual Property Organization from published international sources, primarily those of the United Nations Organization, and also of the International Monetary Fund and probably the World Bank as well, through an interministerial committee that we have under the chairmanship of the Chief Executive Officer of the NITI Aayog. We were able to prime and we were able to mobilize all our colleagues in these 29 stakeholder ministries and departments to start taking the job of providing data to these international publications very seriously. And thanks to the cooperation we received from our colleagues and whatever push we had given to them on behalf of the NITI Aayog, we were able to bring up to date almost all data points related to the 80 odd indicators, except a few ones. And those were mentioned by Dr. Vincent just now. So we have undertaken it upon ourselves to ensure that in the current year and the exercise that we start from now up to March of 2023, which is the cutoff date when the WIPO picks up data from the international sources, we will ensure that these gaps are also covered and all data points related to all 80 odd indicators are made up to date. So that is something which we take upon ourselves and we'll ensure that we do that. And
may I just react very briefly? Sorry to interrupt. Look, normally my role sometimes is to play the devil's advocate and to say the data is not up to date and we should work together to update it because it will help India's position. This time, my point was, I think the data coverage has immensely improved. The point that I was trying to make here is that the results of this year's GII fails to capture, for all countries, not only India, the more recent developments, right, of 2022, but also 2021 and part 2020. And on that front, it's just probably fascinating and a real issue to find out what has really happened to the innovation ecosystem over the last 18 months or so, right? So just to clarify, so while sometimes my job is to kind of promote more up-to-date data, this is not an India problem. We are all flying relatively blind as to what happened recently. Sorry for that.
Okay, no,
thank you. Yeah. And just one more point we thought we should respond to, with the permission of the Vice Chairman, business R&D innovation. Now, this was also flagged by Dr. Vincent and also by Dr. Sumito Datta. We acknowledge that contribution to R&D expenditure needs to definitely go up in the country. And there's absolutely no two opinion about that. And while we also acknowledge that most of the expenditure on R&D in India comes from the government sources, we are also in constant dialogue. And in fact, in the India Innovation Index of the last year, which we released in the month of July this year, we have also brought to focus the fact that the industry also needs to increase its share of contributing money in R&D ventures. And we need to prime up our industry, and I'm sure CII is the right body to do it, to ensure that contribution by the industry to R&D goes up substantially in the coming years. And that is typical of all developed economies, where figures say that about 60% to 70% of R&D expenditure comes from the industry, and the balance 30% comes from government sources. So we are definitely going to target that. And having said that, we are also going to ensure that the government, the academia, and the industry continue to work together for shared goals and shared objectives to ensure that the fruits of R&D reach the market, reach the commercial stage at the earliest and in a very coordinated manner.
So, thank you.
With this, may I at least excuse myself? I have a hard stop at this time, but thank you for including me in this, and congratulations to all involved. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Berry. And
Thank you,
thank
Suman,
you.
and thank you for your inspiration very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha, for your remarks. May I
Thank
request
you.
Mr. Sondi to give his concluding remarks, please?
Thank you, Renuka. Let me ask CB if he has any quick comment to make, after which I will close out.
No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Vipin. I just wanted to add to what Dr. Neeraj Sinha mentioned. There were two challenges which was mentioned by the DG WIPO. One more intensive, one of it was on more intensive research focus, is the focus area of the government of India with Jai Anusandhan, as was mentioned, as a mission. And CII would definitely enable this to happen through our technology movement, which is being headed by Vipin and Alok. Another important thing that I would like to mention is to make innovation very inclusive. We are working on innovation in rural areas. That's a big priority for us. And another very important feature that has come up in the recent times is ensuring participation of women in STEM. And we see a very, very strong response on that. One other issue is the appropriate data calibration that is being taken up, and CII is working on formulation of a calibration system for innovation, happening in different states of India. This is something which NITI, of course, very much appreciates, and we know that, and we would really engage very strongly on that. So all in all, we would appreciate the policy implementation, and we must appreciate the huge policy implementation that's taking place. In fact, I was mentioning that so much of things are going at such a rapid pace. Sometimes the last few months, if it is captured, we will show ourselves in a much even better position than what we are showing ourselves. And we would, of course, jointly be working together to enhance investments from the industry in R&D. That's a big goal, which some of the targets which was mentioned by Vipin. We'll work on that. So that's as a quick response to what the DG WIPO said, and to Dr. Sasha and Soumitra.
Thank you, CB. Thank you for your very quick response. I have the pleasure of the vote of thanks. I want to thank all the dignitaries for gracing the India launch session of the Global Innovation Index 2022. It is a great moment of joy, a great day indeed. And of course, we need to work harder and look at the next 10, 20 years. I'd like to also congratulate everyone for a very strong, consistent performance that India has been showing over the years. Specifically like to thank NITI Aayog, the VC, the CEO, Dr. Sinha, you and your team, and WIPO for this collaboration, and sincerely wish that with the concerted efforts, we shall further evolve as a great nation driven by innovation and technology. Thank you in absentia now, Mr. Suman Bery, for your presence, and also for some of the remarks that I picked up, that this is not accidental, it is driven by policy. How much of the innovation actually goes for public purposes, I think that's extremely important. And that tech is now commonplace in India, maybe much more so in some of the other countries in the world. Thank you to our WIPO colleagues. Good to see you again, Professor Soumitra Datta, and heartiest congratulations, and Dr. Sasha, on your relentless efforts in bringing up this very important publication each year. And we in CII are a great, consider it a great privilege to be part of this initiative. And we're really happy that this journey has produced great results, and we will work hard together to go forward together. Thank you once again to everybody. We now close this session. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. May I request for those who have the time and the inclination to stay connected on the CII Hive for the next session. Thank you very much. you.